to the candy shop.
I taste just like candy.
All right, what's up, Facebook? We're waiting for On Radio. Are they coming in? Coming in.
Nice.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ask for Candy. 101 ways to make your love and your life sweeter. Who I am Candace Harper, lovecoach.com. I teach and inspire audacious intimacy to powerful, professional, grown women who want real relationships and seductive singlehoods. And I always say dating and relationships can be hard, but love is always easy. And you're listening to us on Armed Radio on your smart device, maybe using your TuneIn app, or maybe you're in the garden on armedradiogrobal.com. Also, we're available on iHeartRadio now. Yay! So if you have an Alexa, just ask for Candy. Or maybe you're one of my fantastic people who are joining us on Facebook. I don't see comments yet, but I know people are coming in. And if you are, you know you can always comment and be in the conversation. If you're not joining us live, you can call us at 1-800-508-5431. And if you're anywhere and you're on Facebook and you have a profile, you can also join our groups, the Creative Love Collective and Armed Radio Group News. Now, like I said, I'm Candace Harper, lovecoach.com. My talent is conversation. My passion is personal growth. And my purpose is to teach and inspire radical self-acceptance in myself and others so that we can all have our best possible love life. And my guest tonight, my very special guest tonight. Now, if you've been listening and you've been following along, you know that we are in the summer of sexploration. So my guest tonight is an urban sex communicator, honey. She is the quintessential mompreneur on a move to transform the lives of women and girls in the area of sexual freedom, peace, and power. Can I get an amen? She is a shame shifter, and for over 15 years, she has been working to heal and empower women by using a myriad of modalities, mainly laughter. And at the present moment, Nikki B is building her business entitled Straight Sex, No Chaser, that produces a monthly workshop called My Pussy Matters. I want to say it again. My Pussy Matters. Miss Brown resides in New York City with her 21-year-old son and her 4-year-old daughter. Miss Nikki Brown, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
It's awesome to have you. Awesome to see you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell the people who you are.
Who I am. Who am I? Well, you said everything.
I said most.
Not
of it,
everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who am I? I'm a mom, right? I'm a mom. I'm a mompreneur. I am someone on a mission. I really am on a mission to transform and shift how we as women talk about, be about everything sex.
Yes. I love that.
It's my favorite topic. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
Well, tell us a little bit about how this all came about. You told me a little bit, but I feel like the people should know.
How did this come about? I mean, I'm a believer. We're on camera, and I'm looking at you because I'm kind of like having this conversation with Candy.
I know it's hard
I'm
to
gonna have a conversation with the camera, Candy.
Yes.
So
Keep the people
I came about doing this because I felt like I kept running into it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been an educator for over 20 years. I work with all different age groups of children. And I kept being confronted by something sexual, either my own dialogue about it, my own sexual experiences, the people in my life. And what I found is that the women that I was interacting with from all segments of my life weren't really empowered around sex. And we all know no one can get here unless you've had sex with somebody had sex with somebody.
We were all the product.
Right. We are all the results of somebody having intercourse.
Yes.
Yet it's like this secret, you know, it's like you can't really say it. You can't talk about it. If you're a kid, you can't say too much to your parent because then they'll think you're having sex. If you're a parent, you can't say too much to your kid, then your kid will think, you know, that you were sexing everybody. Like, so right, there's all this shame around it. Yeah. So I'm interested in shifting the shame.
I love that. Shifting the shame. We're all about shifting the shame. Absolutely. And that's what we're going to do today. So as you guys know, those of you who keep coming back, what this show is about, each week we have lively conversations about different topics related to love and relationships. Sometimes we bring on special guests like the lovely Nikki Brown, or we play games and activities, but always we get a chance to laugh or cry or just learn something new. And that is why this is a conversation. Now, full disclosure, right now, I think there's something going on with Facebook Live that I don't see where the comments are. So I don't know I want you guys to be commenting like normal. I can't guarantee that I will see your comments in real time, but just comment anyway. If you're at home and you're not on your computer, you're listening in the TuneIn app or you're listening in the garden, 1-800-508-5431. You can call us at any time if you have any questions about what we're talking about. I can't wait to tell you what we're talking about. Tonight's show, we are continuing the ongoing series. And, you know, I'm going to keep partnering with other love coaches and relationship experts and opinionated people about sex and intimacy. And so Nikki is here for us to do some in-depth girl chat. And we're going to be discussing the 8, count them, 8 types of female orgasm. I didn't even know, like, I think I've only had like 1 or 2.
I think I've had all 8.
Have you? Oh, I love it. I can't wait to hear about
I was going through
this.
that list like, okay, check.
Really?
No, I did. I was checking.
That's exciting. I love that because I was going through the list like, what? Like, I didn't even know I had nerve endings.
Listen. You find out lots of stuff when you start to explore.
I feel like I'm missing out.
Yes.
So Eyal Matsliah, I think I'm saying his name right, wrote an article for Your Tango, which is a blog site. You guys can go check it out if you want to. And, you know, he writes about the 8 types of female orgasm. Now, both of us, we have like our little bit of skepticism because we're like, okay, who's this dude? And
How dare he?
Yeah, like there are dudes out there that I think they understand it and know how to cause it and create it. But, you know, they don't tend to have a lot of
She said comments are turned off.
Huh? Comments are turned off.
Yes,
Oh,
so you should probably turn it on.
All right. Somebody just chimed in. The comments are turned. I don't know how to turn it back on. Ooh. I don't know. Whatever.
Okay.
We'll keep it going. I'm going to figure it out as we have 5 comments.
But we can't see them.
Oh.
Yeah, we got to do something like turn it on.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. I never said that I was tech savvy. But I do, you know.
It's all good. We'll
Yeah,
figure it
we'll
out.
figure it
Probably
out.
when the show is over,
Right?
we'll come back and go, oh, that's what they said.
That's what they were saying. So those of you who are commenting on Facebook Live, continue to comment because we will get back to it. And, you know, I will answer. And at some point, I'm going to figure out how to turn comments back on.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got turned off. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, so I guess maybe we should get started.
Yes, we should.
Yeah, right? Okay. So let's just start with what Eyal Matsliah says. He says, you probably have heard that women can have clitoral or vaginal orgasms. You might have even read about the debate within academia around whether vaginal orgasms even exist. I wonder if they even exist just from my own personal experience.
You know, a lot of women say that.
Yeah, because I think a lot of women say that they don't have like a vaginal orgasm.
Shame. No. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
I want us all to have those.
So Eyal says in his experience as a sexual coach and also with the ancient science of Tantra, it proves that women can actually experience many different and distinct kinds of orgasms. Yeah. And we can differentiate orgasms by anatomy, is what he says. There's a few major erogenous zones, which I've heard that before. I guess I just never was like, okay, let's try this zone. Let's try this other zone.
Or some people don't know where it is.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. So it says, if you're just starting out, don't worry about which is which, just experiment with the following areas. Okay, so the first one he talks about is the nipple orgasm. Ooh.
Okay.
So he says the nipples are an important erogenous zone. They're connected via energy channels to the clitoris, and thus stimulation of the breast will cause an arousal of the clitoris and the whole genital area.
Dare I say something?
Yes, by all means.
So, I mean, again, that's the first one, right? And I presume that he went through like from top to bottom, but he really didn't, because he would have started with the mouth. But so he started with the nipples. And so naturally with anything that you're reading, you go, how does this apply to me?
Yeah.
Right? How do I fit in here? Has this ever happened? So I listed everything. I wrote down all of the types of orgasms. And I said, have I ever experienced this? Now, I will say yes. And it was by accident. Okay. Right? Because I always
like you had them and then just discovered that works?
Right. Because I always said, I'm not stimulated by my nipples.
Okay.
I would say that, right?
Yeah.
And then recently, after I had my daughter, she's only 4, I started to feel like there was some sensation that I didn't pay attention to before. Or maybe the guy's man, whatever, who came along didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I found somebody who knew what to do.
Yeah. Now, see, what comes up for me when I think about nipple orgasm without, being, I'll be candid. I was gonna say without being candid. But I just think of like laboring on them, and after a while just getting annoyed with it. And I know that sounds so frigid, because I'm not a frigid person, but I'm like, okay, if we're going at the nipples, even because he even suggests like using a vibrator. He suggests, wait, what did he say? With small breasts, women tend to be more sensitive, but all women can develop sensitivity in their breasts regardless of size.
Yes.
So if your breasts are not sensitive, give yourself regular breast massage or ask your partner to do so. Now, I get that, but like I think mine are pretty sensitive, but I feel like I wouldn't want to.
You wouldn't
look at me like
okay,
that.
here's the thing.
But like them to be like rubbed raw.
No, right.
Like I think like cheese grater after a
Cheese
while.
grater.
Like, enough with
Here's
that.
the thing. Well, you know what that comes from. I think
Tell
that
me.
when we have these situations where we're not being stimulated, a lot of times there's too much thought.
Okay.
We're thinking too deeply versus having the experience, like letting it be orgasmic in the experience alone, right?
Yeah.
Before there is an orgasm, there has to be an exchange of energy that we're even engaged in to begin with. Because no matter what part of my body you're touching, it could be the most sensual erogenous zone. If the wrong person is touching it in the wrong way, ain't nothing happening.
Yeah.
You know what I
You're
mean?
just not going to get it.
Yeah.
Or if they're like going at it.
Right. Like, come on, get out of here.
Which speaks back to something I was talking about last week with Julia, that idea of like intimacy and like creating like and foreplay and, someone who's willing to be patient, I guess.
Absolutely.
And kind of take the time.
You have to be patient. Your partner has to be patient.
Yeah.
I think that has to be a natural exchange of something.
Yeah.
That has to be present before you even get to that.
Yeah. No, I hear that. That totally makes sense. Okay, we got it. We did orgasm 1. We're gonna see if we can make that happen now.
Go out there and get you a nipple orgasm.
Right? Everybody out there, because men can do it too. I mean, I know he said female. I would feel like some men are sensitive enough there.
Some. Girl, we have to talk offline. This is another conversation, everybody, with Candace and I. Will you after, you need to come back for after the Ask Candy show.
After the show.
Oh yeah, let me write that down. We'll discuss it. Yes.
So then the next one he talks about is the clitoral orgasm, which is the one is the one that most women know to be an orgasm. For me, that's like the obvious. That's like, yes, intense clitoral stimulation leading to a short peak of orgasm that lasts 20 to 30 seconds, focused mainly in the genital area and feels intense, sharp, but a bit shallow compared to vaginal orgasms. That was interesting. It says the pleasure declines rapidly. Your clit might feel hypersensitive and even a bit painful. And some women lose their interest and passion for a few minutes or even hours. I guess after you've had the orgasm.
After you have the orgasm, I think. I mean, again,
I've never lost interest for hours.
I've never lost interest. I mean, okay, part of how I live my life and how I do my business and discuss things at my events is that I share from a place of actually having the experience.
I hear that.
Right. So, this guy clearly is speaking from a theoretical place, right? Because he's a man and he doesn't have a clitoris.
Hello.
He can only give us feedback from what he personally experienced or what someone has told him.
Yeah.
As a woman who experiences orgasm intentionally, it's a very sensitive place, yet it doesn't have to have this frozen in time experience. I know that each body is individual.
Yeah.
Some women don't even get stimulated by the clitoris.
Really?
I can't imagine.
But see, I feel like, I mean, for me, it's the one that I know for sure that's like, it's going to work. I know it's going to work, but also like there was something that you said that really resonated, because I think it's also knowing only one that will work can have you stuck, sort of stagnant and like doing the same thing over and over again.
Which is why you could say, 8. Yeah. But I've only been doing 2. Where have I been all these years?
I know my body.
Exactly. So it does. Knowing that there are other options.
Yeah.
And being unafraid to try them.
Yeah. Well, what he says is if you want to make it happen, I feel like a lot of us know these things, but it's good to talk about finger, shower head, vibrator, or your partner's mouth. Those are all the general
general ways to get it stimulated.
To have it happen, right? And those of you who are out there watching on Facebook Live, please feel free to, if you don't mind putting your business on Front Street, tell us, like what is your thing as far as orgasms are concerned and the clitoral orgasm and what you think about that. And maybe you are one of those women who's like, I don't really get it that way.
Right.
Yeah,
or maybe you're not interested in that.
Right. That might not be your thing.
I believe we should all explore them. I mean, on your own personal time with your partners.
Yes. And we got 6 more.
Listen,
so.
It's worth it. It's worth it. What do you have to lose? Right. What do you have to lose? You got so much to gain.
Yeah, no, it's true. All right. So then the third one, I wish we had our comments because I know people are saying stuff, especially my Lee. I know he's saying things because
we got to get it somewhere. We're going to figure it out.
I know.
You keep talking. I'll mess around.
Just don't shut down the live.
I won't.
Okay.
No, we'll keep that open.
So that's
third
what we
did
one,
already, right?
Yeah.
We went over there. That didn't work.
The post one. The third one is the vaginal entrance orgasm. And so he says there are many nerves at the entrance of your vagina, making it a sensitive and erogenous zone. I love how he's like telling women there are many nerves at the entrance of your vagina. Like, oh, really?
Really? Oh, I didn't know that.
Didn't know that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Making it a sensitive and erogenous zone. Apart from clitoral orgasm, this is where most women experience pleasure and subsequent orgasm. Okay. But compared with the inner areas, the vaginal entrance orgasm is more shallow and sharp. Similar to a clitoral orgasm, it might also become explosive. He's very descriptive for someone, like you said, who doesn't have a vagina.
Maybe he has a vagina explode on him. From that experience. I'm just saying.
Vagina exploded.
I know, like, this is what people talk about.
He was laying it down.
Vaginal entrance. Now, I have had friends and I've had women that participate in my workshops who say, you know what? Vaginal, I don't get it. Like, I don't have orgasms in that way. There are many, many women who do not have vaginal orgasms.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you think that that's something that can be, that you can have, like, that you can somehow, I don't know, make happen? Yeah.
No,
or if you never have, like, learn how to do it.
Right. I think that, a lot of women have reported to me that they have never had an orgasm in their lives. It's hard for me to understand that because I've had orgasms. Yet I can see how you could not. Yeah. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Very often there are so many layers associated with why I wouldn't have an orgasm. Right? Do you have sexual trauma? You know what I mean? Like, what is the relationship like with you and your partner? Do you have one partner? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's your conversation around sex and intimacy to begin with? I think that plays a whole nother role into what kind of orgasms we have or don't have.
Yeah. No, that totally makes sense. But what would you say as advice to someone who's like, I've not had any kind? You said that there's a lot of women who say that they've never had one.
Mm-hmm. My favorite way is get in touch with yourself.
Yeah.
In my training as a facilitator for women's healing, the conversation always leads back to self. How are you loving yourself in this way? And how are you giving to yourself from an intimate sexual way?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Many women, go through life without even like seeing their vaginas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's this.
Like they don't do the mirror.
I mean, no mirror, no like hand, like touch it, like feel it. It's yours.
Yeah. Look, I found a way to see the comments.
Yay! It's a gift of yours.
Yeah.
Like, use that gift.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I love that, Nikki. We're getting there, and use that gift, and don't be afraid to touch yourself.
Yes.
That's a big thing. Relationship with self. It always comes down to relationship with self anyway. So now we worked it out that we can see the comments. Yay. I see Makia's here. Sean Williams and a couple other people watching. Lee, I'm curious how and why this guy is presenting the research on the 8 orgasms. I mean, he says that he works with both men and women. And so he says that he is a intimacy, what did he say? He calls himself an intimacy coach
or something.
But it's not, and how it relates to business.
Yes. Like he related business and intimacy or something.
Yeah, or like orgasms and business, which I think, like, because we were talking about that other coach too, and I see where it's like, because we were talking about the pleasure principle and like, how you get pleasure involved in how you get your work done and all of that stuff. But I also think it's like, without judging his hustle.
Right. No, absolutely.
It's like, it's kind of a stretch like orgasms and business, and making that connection in between. Like,
Well,
how would you make that connection?
Well, I make the connection because I focus on sex. Oh no, I think that to have a healthy sex life is important no matter what you're doing. And I think that when we are not having healthy, empowering sex lives, it impacts other areas of your life.
Yeah.
It's just that we don't speak about it.
Yeah.
Right? We pretend that, oh, you've been in a convent, not if you're not a nun, like I'm holding it for the next 80 years until I meet someone. And so you want to know why, you know what I mean? It's like anything else. If it's not.
But what do you think came, like I always say, it's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Is it that you haven't worked out, your purpose, your business, your why, who you are, and so then you can't have good sex, or do you know what I mean? Or good intimacy, I should say. Like, what do you think as far as that's concerned?
I think that we could look at why it is important to be intimate.
Yeah.
Beyond sex, right? Sex is a physical activity. The intimacy is something else, right? That's something that we experience. We can have an intimate moment right here. We have no intentions of having sex, right? Yet we can be intimate with the conversation, with the dialogue.
Yeah.
And I think that is important in any area of your life. So there's pleasure in being intimate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
People get pleasure from having these heartfelt conversations and even touches. Yeah. And so in that, then you get to open yourself up in a way for business, for work.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so like you feel something.
Yeah.
I know the more I began to feel and love myself in a particular way, the more open I got to what my purpose could be.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have happened if I wasn't doing this exploration, intentional exploration.
And probably like a little bit more confident too.
Absolutely.
I would imagine. Yeah,
absolutely.
That makes sense. That totally makes sense. We're learning, honey.
Feels good to be learning.
It feels good to be learning. We are in the summer of sexploration. So we finally figured out how we can see the comments on my phone, which I still want people, if you want to call in, because it's the same phone, 1-800-508-5431 if you want to call in and comment. But the Facebook commenting people, I can now see you. I see Lee says self-love is great love. Yes, honey.
It is. That comes first.
Right? Absolutely.
And you got to love your body.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Which I think, definitely I think men struggle with this too, but obviously, with women in this culture, it's like a big thing. Loving your body.
Loving your body and all of its curves and non-curves and internally.
Moles and
yes, okay. I got a few as I got older. Yeah.
Right. So now this next one's really interesting because I feel like there's a lot of controversy around whether it even exists, right? So he says, number 4, the G-spot orgasm, originally called the Grafenberg spot after the scientists who discovered it. He says, I prefer to call it the goddess spot or the good spot. The G-spot is actually not exactly a spot, but an area, I don't know what the difference is, located just inside your vagina, near the entrance.
You're going to call it the G area?
Right? On the upper wall under the pubic bone. When you insert your index and middle fingers into your vagina and curl or hook them towards your clit, you will discover that this area feels different than your vaginal walls. I actually have tried that before. I tried it to see what.
Well, it exists. I don't care what anybody says. It exists.
Yeah.
I think it exists.
I definitely felt it. He says it's like a ridged, soft, fleshy hill that feels like a combination between a hard tongue and a soft palate.
It's a muscle.
Yeah, totally. And it has that
it's a muscle that has a sensation. He said all those nerves at the opening of the vagina.
Yes.
There are nerves all through our body.
Oh, I wonder though. Some women have more nerves there than others. Like, it's.
Perhaps. How do we know? I know from my body, and you just expressed that we have the G area, whatever you want to call it, the G spot, the G muscle, the G sensation. What is it called? The Grafenberg spot. Listen, the goddess spot. It exists. And it provides an orgasmic experience when it is what is it? Titillated. Listen. Stimulated.
Grab like
all
a hook.
of that. Listen, whatever you do, if you've had that piece of your body touched, or if you touch that part of somebody, you made an impact on somebody's body.
Yeah, he does also say that it takes longer to reach that orgasm. So I guess maybe it's like It's the big one. I've never had that orgasm though. Like, I have to say.
Again, after candy. We're gonna have to talk after candy, not now. We're gonna have to talk
We're
after
gonna get into
candy.
the really personal stuff after the show.
After the shows, tune in for that.
Right? He does give a little bit of instruction, but I'd rather hear what you have to say so we can, I feel like you'll know better.
We only know what we've experienced.
Right? Exactly.
Anything else is theory.
Exactly. So we're at number 5, which is the cervical uterine organ. Now, I have to be honest, when I first saw the name for this one, I was like, ooh. Like, I feel like, because I love cervix uterus, but I always think that's like the sacred part of the womb, like cervix uterus. Like, I don't associate that with the sexual. I associate that with the baby carrying, baby growing.
Wow.
Like
the whole
like I was like, really? You can have an orgasm involving your cervix and your. I was like, I feel like that's
don't
like
touch that area.
Yeah, like that's
all fair game.
game.
In the world of sexual pleasure, I don't think that any part of your body, when you are exchanging in a sacred environment, should be off limits.
Okay.
I think that
even like way internally.
She said way internally. Way deep.
Way deep.
Go deep. Like, actually, the cervix is not as far as we think it is. I mean, it all depends on each body.
Yeah.
Right? Because every woman's structure is different.
Yeah.
So you never know.
Yeah.
I say explore it. Like nothing, what's the worst thing that can happen? You'll like it.
Right. What I always think, like, no, I agree. It's like, what's the worst thing that can happen? But I don't know where I got this story from in my head. I always think of it like this. Lisa, I'll tune in for that.
Please do.
Lee, I love it. I love that you're always game.
But
I feel like it's like, I don't know, this sort of like delicate, I don't know.
It is.
It's a delicate flower.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the fact that you consider that piece of the female anatomy delicate and sacred, because it is, but all of it's holy ground.
Yeah. Ooh.
All of it's holy ground.
Holy
From the
ground.
clitoris, you know what I'm saying, to the anus. It's holy ground.
Yeah.
We don't consider it holy ground. We don't speak about the female womb in a way that says it is sacred, but it's all sacred.
Well, it's interesting because you and this guy agree, because he's like, the cervix is the entrance to the womb, the uterus. This is the pole or the center of the feminine energies in a woman's body. A woman's cervix is related to her feminine core, her sense of self, her heart, her creativity, and to her entire being.
Absolutely. And so if you could get to that place,
right?
I don't know, dudes.
Right?
You get to the cervical,
right? You get the
orgasm,
magic.
that might be the code. Crack the code, the holy grail of the female body.
You might keep her forever.
Listen, or she might keep you.
My best friend always says, you fuck with me, you stuck with me. I mean, I never thought of it like that, but if you get that far out,
you are worth keeping. You have special skills that we need to cultivate.
Right? So I see, look, Renee came in, Joe came in. Sean says, nothing off limits sounds good.
That's right.
See, that's what men always say. They
I like
every
that,
area.
though. Listen,
Right.
I'm with you, Sean. I agree. Nothing is off limits when you're consenting, right? I want to be responsible, right?
Yeah.
We're consenting to this.
Protected.
We are both protected. We are both being responsible, and we are willing to venture into this sacred, holy ground, which is sexual pleasure. If it were not supposed to be there, the divine creator, master, whatever name you call that entity, would not have created it for us.
Yeah.
It would not be there. And so that's the piece, that I want people to get. If there were no use for it, it wouldn't exist.
It wouldn't be there.
Everything is here for a reason.
Yeah. What does Lee say? Some say cervical related hurts or is uncomfortable.
Perhaps. It all depends on the body. But Lee, you wouldn't know if you didn't go there. How do you know what brings pleasure or pain? Right. Unless you enter the threshold of each.
Unless you try it out.
You don't know.
To see what'll happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Lee, whatever you're coming with, honey.
Whatever you're coming with, Lee. I'm going to leave that one alone.
Right. But I like that. I mean, I do agree. Like, it's about just getting to a space of like, comfortable exploration, which also speaks to, you know, how we choose our partners.
Absolutely.
Like there's nothing wrong however you choose to live your sex life or who you choose to be with, but also no matter what kind of relationship you choose, just setting yourself up for comfortability and being able to be okay with being open to that full exploration.
And I think that comes from having straight dialogue.
Yeah, right? I agree.
We
like
spend a lot of time pretending like this is not the eventual destination.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, like even in a dating situation, a friend, a platonic, whatever kind of relationship, I think that we should all be able to freely communicate this.
Yeah.
Because in the event that I'm in this interaction with the person, I will want to have known something, had this conversation beforehand. I don't want to be in this midst of a situation going, oh, snap.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you that I liked this.
Yeah.
And you're doing some old other shenanigans that I can't.
Which that's a hard. I think that I don't know if it resonates with you, like that also comes with maturity. Because I feel like when I was like in my 20s and stuff, I would have never been able to have some of the conversations that I'm able to have now. And then I also think there's probably some conversations that I'm not able to have now that I probably need to bust out with and go ahead and get comfortable.
Because there's a lot of shame associated with sex.
Yeah.
Right? Well, we're made to feel bad and ashamed and embarrassed that we're even interacting. Yeah. You know, depending on what age you are.
That we're even naked.
Yeah. And I'm saying whatever age, but it's like any age. I used to say as being a woman, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's never the right time. Right? 15 is too young. 25, maybe you're not quite ready. 40 is old. Like, when do we get to win here?
Right. You're always wrong.
Yeah. So you're always going to be wrong. Do it anyway.
Yeah. Like it was like we were talking about before the show, we were talking about the baby having thing. And how, in different cultures, we don't know if it's the same. We know in our culture, it's a lot of times it's wrong if you're having a baby, and there's no right circumstances.
Right.
Like you're too young, you're a teenager, or you're not married, or you are married and you're not married to the right man, or maybe y'all aren't religious enough, or whatever. The time isn't right, or you waited too long and you're too old. Like no matter how you do it, when you do it, somebody's gonna have something to say about it. And the same thing I think applies to our sex lives and like what we choose for our sex lives. It's like sooner or later, who is it that says you can't as a giraffe you can't have a conversation.
TD Jakes said that. You can't have giraffe conversations with a turtle
because they're not looking at it from your
same point of view.
Level.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's not a right or wrong. It's just you're looking two different
perspectives. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's about the freedom. You know, I'm about freedom. I really do believe that having candid dialogue about sex and intimacy leads to some type of freedom for you, for the person you're with. When there is that freedom involved in this interaction that we're having, sex and intimacy, the experience is more pleasurable. Yeah. Yeah. You know, when there's no shame and guilt associated with it, you could have a ball. You're willing to go into that. What is it? Deep conversation? Gotta have it. Yes.
Thank you, Sean. And I see Roy Fisher is watching. Hi, Roy. I went to high school with Roy. I went to high school with Lee. I love it.
Wait, don't skip past number 6.
Oh, no, we're not skipping.
Oh, I was looking.
No.
Excuse me. Oh, yeah.
Wait till y'all hear what number 6 is. So the number 6 female orgasm is the anal orgasm.
All right. Okay.
Which is an interesting. Okay, let's see what he says first, and then we're gonna get on it. So, so to speak, the anus is an erogenous zone full of sensitive nerves. An anal orgasm will be earthy, raw, rough, physical, and will be generally localized in the genital area. It's also related to the root chakra. I could see that. So some women might be more sensitive and open to anal stimulation than others. Some women need to have frequent anal stimulation to feel satisfied. Otherwise, they feel heavy, stagnant, and stuck. An anal orgasm can be explosive. He likes that word explosive. Right? I don't know if asses and pussies have been blown up around him.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Thus, your partner should take extra care when penetrating you anally, as it might be more challenging to control his ejaculation. Now, here's the thing about
Say that last part again. I'm sorry.
He says an anal orgasm can be explosive. Thus, your partner should take extra care when penetrating you anally, as it might be more challenging to control his ejaculation.
I agree. Good point.
I mean, Personally, I'm always like, this zone is for unloading only. But I don't have any judgments. Like Lee says, and I thought this too. He says earthy
is an interesting description. Yes.
Explosive and anal might not be good words to go together.
Exactly. Okay, so his word choice is a little off, right? I think it leads to it sounds to me, not just him personally, but just people in general, about the conversation around anal orgasm, anal sex, is that there is this negative connotation associated with it. Yeah. That there is some type of nasty, ugly experience that happens afterwards.
Or there may be poop.
There may be poop, right? Yeah. There may be anything. Yeah. I mean, I read some stuff today in this thing.
Like in this very article?
In this article, because I think, check the last one. Did you see the last one?
Uh-huh. Yeah, we're going to have to get to that.
Yes, I'm just saying. So there are, so many outcomes for any of these sexual experiences. And the notion that it could be negative, which is why it will stop you from even engaging, is ridiculous to me. I think that people should just try things out and see how it works for them. Yeah. Right? Sex and all of its pieces and parts, particularly the orgasms of it, are unique and individual.
I'd be so
there's no general.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think it's definitely
because there's some people who say, I had anal sex and none of that happened. Yeah. Right? There was no explosion.
Well, they do it in porn all the time. So
right. Well, porn is a little more controlled.
That is true. But I'm saying, like, if it can be done, it can be done. Well, right? Like whatever you want to use. Right. And I don't judge, because I think that if you do find stimulation, for me, it's a very scary negotiation.
Okay, hold on. Wait. So,
like, I've never done it. Like,
Candace never done it.
I've never done it.
She's speaking from theory.
I'm speaking from theory. So for me, and the reason I've never done it is because I think about it, and I think about like incorporating it, and it just
doesn't work for you.
Well, it just scares me a little bit, and I think of pain. Okay, and I'm like, okay. And I've made it this far in my life without having any sort of, Lee says anal also requires some prep for her too. Yes, I would imagine.
Mental.
Like lots of lube, lots of mental prep.
She was very, she was very stimulated anally. Control was not an issue. Okay. Oh. That's true.
So there you go.
It all depends on who it is.
Yeah.
Depends on who it is. Depends on who we're with. I think it's a very intimate experience. Yeah. It's not something that you would have with everybody.
Yeah.
Definitely protection.
Like save that hole for your husband.
Yeah. I mean, that's if you believe in marriage.
No, right? If you believe in marriage.
That's if you believe in marriage. I've heard that before. That's if you're only with a husband. I mean, everybody's doing it however they're doing it. I think that it's intimate.
It's intimate.
It's up close and personal.
Yeah.
If we're
no matter what gender your partner
is,
it's intimate.
If I'm going there with you,
yeah,
we go together.
Like this is serious.
You're with me forever. We break up, we're still together.
Right. If we doing all that, this is the real deal.
You're going into the, what do they call it? It's an erogenous zone. You go there, you're with me.
Yeah. And you better have given me a ring, so to speak.
Yeah, it's like giving me a ring.
Not just you're going in
not
the ring.
Just anybody's going up in that area.
I don't know. We'll see if
you're special
ever happens. Well, he says to use your own fingers or a dildo to stimulate it first from the outside and then venture inward. And he also says he's like Lee. He's like, make sure you use a lot of lube and that you completely relax.
That's an interesting perspective.
What?
That he's giving these pointers. I mean, like because I think that there are so many ways to skin a cat.
Yeah. Everything sounds like a euphemism. When you're talking about sex, everything sounds like some sort of euphemism.
Skin a cat,
right?
Loop it up. I mean, some people have wet butts. I don't know if you always need lube.
And see, that's the kind of thing that scares me.
What if it's not as lubricated as you need it to be? That's funny.
I see Scott Cleveland just joined us. What's up, Scott? And Joe Savino, my love, is here. I'm glad you guys are joining. So, okay, we're on number 7.
Yes.
Which to me is fascinating because I've never had this, but I would be willing to see where this could definitely go. So the throat orgasm. So it says, women can have orgasms when performing fellatio, especially when deep throating or from having a finger or two rubbed on the back of their throat. Interesting. These orgasms are related to the arousal of the pituitary gland at the back of the throat, which is also a minor chakra, according to Tantra. The experience of this orgasm might also be related to the physiological effects of holding one's breath and the suppression of the gag reflex. I think you have to suppress the gag reflex in order to, because I feel like if you're, I don't know.
I was getting ready to listen to your okay, let me hear your expert advice on this here orgasm.
I'm thinking in terms of like what happens when you have the gag reflex, right? Like, you have that like stoppage thing. I don't know. I would think that it would stop the energy of the orgasm if you're, am I overthinking it?
You could, no. I think that it all depends. I think that when you are engaged, now this is talking about oral sex, yeah?
Yeah.
Right? So during oral sex, right? So in an oral sex situation, it sounds like he's really more or less leading to like what they call a deep throating or something.
Yeah.
I was
he doesn't say that, but that's
right.
That's what.
Because if you're talking about gagging, because I wouldn't gag if it's nothing on the, what do you call it? The pituitary gland?
Well, he says it's the epiglottis that actually, if you hit that, it makes you like. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to turn
another
this
video.
Into porn. That's a whole nother video. Y'all are going to have to go to Pornhub.com.
There's a lady on YouTube that shows you how to
do it.
Handle it. Yeah, she knows you how to do a mean one.
Make it happen.
But I think that when I was reading it, I was thinking of an orgasm that might occur someplace else because you are providing this pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I didn't necessarily see it like in my throat. I was going to have this orgasmic experience. I was having it like there's something that happens in my body if I'm engaging orally with my partner because I want to provide pleasure for him.
Like your orgasm might like...
Right, like it's happening for me someplace else.
Well, he says something about what he calls throat ejaculation.
Wow.
Not ejaculation in the throat. He says, okay, when stimulated orally, some women can excrete huge quantities of saliva and mucus that can be very viscous. Sometimes there is even a sort of white foam. The release of these fluids is considered to be throat ejaculation. Right? I don't think that I've ever experienced what I would call a throat orgasm.
Me either.
And I'm not saying that some of the stuff he's describing didn't happen, but it didn't feel orgasmic.
Right.
It just felt like
something's going on in my mouth, and not the thing that you might think.
Something's going on in my mouth.
Something's happening before he ejaculates.
You're watching or listening to Ask for Candy when someone says something's going on in my mouth. I love that phrase.
Something's happening.
Yeah. So then he also mentions the throat chakra for anybody who we mentioned the root chakra earlier. There's 7 chakras in your body for anybody who does or does not follow that sort of thing. And they're like energy centers and they use them in Tantra and also what is it? Hinduism or Buddhism? Yeah, I don't remember.
Not even lie.
Right? We're not,
My friend is always talking about chakras. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds real deep.
I pay attention to the throat chakra because I'm a speaker.
Yeah.
So I think that's important. I think that's my piece.
It is. And that's the thing. There's like the throat, the heart chakra, it's the solar plexus chakra. I forget what it's called. And then there's the root chakra and I don't know. Let me not act like I'm an expert. I kind of know them, but I don't know them. So I don't want to go into it. But the thing about it is that they're energy centers. Yeah. So I think he's trying to like refer to how, if you're stimulating near to those things, that your likelihood of causing, a great orgasm or a great pleasurable experience, right? Yay. Oh my goodness. We are moving along, honey bunny. We got this. Okay. We made it to number 8. We never make it to number 8. I think we're doing good. Yes. I think we're like,
I like this.
Yeah. And I don't know about you guys out there. You can comment if you like, or you can call in if you like. I personally am now very curious to discover how I can cause these different orgasms.
Well, I don't know if you need to cause them.
No, that's true. Perhaps.
Remember that topic we were about to bring in? So
yes.
Maybe you can...
And I can enroll.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about the whole idea. This was the question. I'm glad you reminded me of this. I asked Nikki a question before we started because it's been something that's been on my mind since, if you were listening last week with Julia, we talked about the idea of being responsible for your own orgasms. And Sean says, Chakra Khan.
Stop it.
Rebecca.
True.
Thank you, Rebecca. So what the question was, not even the question, we kind of came to the conclusion that we have to be responsible for our own orgasm, which I totally believe and I buy into, and I think it makes sense. So, but here's the thing, I was asking Nikki, like, how do you balance being responsible for your own orgasm and then also allowing your partner the space to cause that for you?
Absolutely.
You know, no matter who, or, you know, what your preference is, or, you know, whatever, as far as your partnership, like, you still want to give them space to be able to
explore your body in a way that will bring about an explosion.
Exactly. And I think whether you're with women or whether you're with men, like, I do think sometimes men can get their egos involved, but I know for myself, like, we all feel good when we can cause that for somebody else. Absolutely. Right? So yeah, tell me again what you think, and, you know, whatever else you want to say about how to balance being responsible for your own orgasm, but also sharing that responsibility with your partner, whoever they may be.
I mean, first of all, I would retract the all statement. We don't all care about providing pleasure for another. I've had some really selfish lovers
that didn't care.
The way.
That makes sense.
And a lot of people complain about having selfish lovers. I think that they're, you know, I'm responsible for my own orgasm, but it's because I'm interested in providing pleasure for another. Okay. So I want you to experience what I want, what I'm going to experience. I'm clear. I'm going to handle my business.
Yeah.
However, again, it always goes back to the kinds of communication that you're having with your partner about what does please you and what they're able to provide. Because sometimes there are things that you like that your partner may not be a master in.
Yeah.
And so are we going to be willing to train one another? And getting out the pleasure that we want.
I feel like a lot of people have it. Like, I like that, train one another, because that's basically what we do. But I feel like a lot of men, especially, like that talk about that conversation, like talking to a man and having a communication that trains him.
Teaches
to do what you want.
Right, but teaches.
No,
right?
I think that's valid.
Because if I think about it, and I use oral sex because people still are like in this world of, do I do it? Right? Men have a conversation about it. Women have a conversation about it. Different people from different areas of whatever regions we're on the planet. Everybody has a conversation about oral sex. Yeah. And so when I think about that conversation, there should be an honest conversation about it. Yeah. We should not be in the midst of the moment to go, wait a minute.
Let's talk about
she don't suck dick. You know what I'm saying? I should have thought this
You're
over.
telling me this now?
Right. Well, you know, or a woman is looking at me and like, wait a second. He's not going to eat the box? Like, that's a problem.
That's a scientific term,
right.
by the way.
Right. Scientific. You
eat the box.
And it's like, you got all of this stuff that we're dealing with and talking about and building and creating a relationship, and we leave sex out.
Yeah.
We leave the pleasure that we love out.
Yeah. Like it's
because it's nothing worse than
important as the financial.
It's nothing worse. Exactly. It's nothing worse than you having something that you enjoy sexually that you don't discuss with your partner, and he or she tries to do it on you and fuck it up.
Like anal orgasm.
Right, anal orgasm. You know what I'm saying? You're like, get your shit out of here. I don't like that. That's the wrong hole. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the wrong right. And he's thinking, oh, my bad. But in actuality, he was really trying to try it, thinking that if I went there with her,
see if he could slide into
when you should have told him up front, I'm not into that. Don't ever try it with me. If you really are interested in a relationship with me, don't go there.
Don't go there. But like, do you think that it should be okay? So early dating, and you're getting to that point with someone. Do you think it's valid to be like, well, let's have the sex conversation? Like, what do you like? What do you?
Always, we're grown.
Yeah,
I'm grown. Yeah. If you are interested in me and you think that we're not going to have sex, then you should probably not talk to me.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
I hear you.
If we are engaged in communication and we like each other and we're going out on dates and we're doing all that, know that I'm thinking this is going to be sexual at some point.
Yeah.
So we could get it out the way early, or we could pretend like we don't know that this is going to happen and play this game with, I'm going to wait till date number 4.
Yeah. Do you prefer, like, okay, it's funny because I had Tony Veer, who's a male relationship coach, on a couple weeks ago, and I had the same conversation with him about, well, like what I'm thinking of was in the conversation was about like when is too soon. Like, you know, sometimes men, they'll send the dick pic or like, you know, how quickly to, you know, of course, obviously, especially if you're dating online or you meet somebody and you're attracted to them, of course, it's like eventually you wanted to get to a sexual relationship, right? If you feel attracted to someone. But we were talking about that. Like, let me ask your personal preference as a woman. If you meet somebody, if they are quick to go into the sexual conversation, is that something that you prefer so that you know where they stand? Or are you like, why is he going straight there?
Because I don't have a thing about sex, like it being bad and wrong. I mean, I've heard stories of people who said, I had sex with my husband the first date.
Yeah.
And now he's her husband.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So I think that when we get rid of all of this taboo about sex, then we could have authentic, straight up dialogue with whomever about it. I could be in a room of strangers. I may not be thinking about having sex with them, but we can have straight sex talk.
Like we can talk about
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that we spend a little too much time overthinking. I don't want him to think I'm a whore, because that's really what's in the back. If I bring up this sexual conversation on this first date,
but what if he sends you like a dick pic right away? Or what if he's like, you know,
then what's
on
wrong
the
with
first
that?
date?
He just sent you a dick pic. I don't know any woman who's interested in dick who's like, I don't want to see a dick pic. Well, then you should probably like.
I feel like, I mean, for me, I can't speak for all women, but I tend to like, if I get a dick pic really soon, I tend to not take them so seriously. I might show it to my girlfriend.
Oh, you
my
think like
friends.
maybe they just want to go for sex?
Yeah, like then I start to think, oh, this is what he's about. Lee says no dick pics. But you know, like I think if a man is quickly overt, and if a woman is quickly overt about sex, I tend to think, okay, then maybe that's just what they're all about. That's where.
Well, there's always a conversation. I could say, okay, there's something I want to talk to you about. I don't want you to get the wrong impression.
Yeah.
I'm clear you're going to make a judgment about what I'm going to say. But do you eat pussy? No.
We need to get that out the way right.
And he could deal with all of his upset, all of his disappointment in that quick moment, and then answer the question or not. Because then this is the thing. If that's something that's really important to me, it's on my list of priorities, but it's not the first priority. Maybe it's number 2. And on the list of sexual priorities. However, if we talk about this in the beginning, then there's no pretense that needs to go further, because I find that that's something that's important to me. So why go any further when you know that you're never going to do that?
That's not going to happen.
That's not your thing.
Yeah.
Like you could be a dude that's like, that's not my thing. I got to respect it. Yeah. But guess what? I got to respect my time. I'm not wasting any more time. We're not going to go there. Or get it out the way now. We'll have some uncomfortable laughter about it. Yeah. It's like, well, you never know. We sit around. You know, like, we can play with it.
You can know if you need to opt out.
Yeah. But I think that we don't give ourselves enough space to play around with a little bit of shock value and to really stop playing around with these relationships.
I hear that.
Because I have too many friends who are like, I'm with him forever. He hasn't done this, and this in the bed. So why are you still there? I mean,
why are you not?
Why haven't you told him? Why aren't you talking about that?
Yeah, I agree. And on that note, we're like almost done. I want to make sure we get everything in. Nikki, you were fantastic.
Thank you. I love you. I love it. I had a good time.
Thank you for coming and being here. Hopefully you'll come back again, because we're going to do more sexploration.
More sex.
Yes, we got through all 8, which is amazing. So we just have these few business things to tell you. Hopefully we have enough time. So, you know, I always tell you guys my 45-day intensive one-on-one coaching program, The Secret Art of Seductive Singlehood. It's to help single women over 35 discover their purpose and attract a soulmate to support them in fulfilling it. The understanding that it's really about self-relationship. How do you get into a relationship with yourself, mind, body, and spirit, so that you can attract someone who you not only want to overflow and contribute to, but is there to contribute to you, as opposed to the other way around, which a lot of us do. And so the 3 ways to make love and life sweeter this week. Open up to the unknown. I guess I'm going to have to do that with anal orgasms. I don't know.
She said it here.
I said it here. Question authority. So if, you know, whatever parents and grandparents and whoever told you about sex, like start questioning that stuff and maybe take some of the shame out of the conversation and find your own orgasms. So maybe one of the 8 might work for you. Maybe you have more of your own or something like that. Right? So Nikki, tell everybody what you want them to know and where you want them to find you.
Right now, you can find me on Facebook, Straight Sex No Chaser. That's the name of the company, right? I am coming soon. So you can email me, straightsexnochaser@gmail.com. I think that if you have questions, concerns, you want to book me, you want to talk to me, you want to come to one of my events, I can send you information about that. At the end of July, I think it's the last Saturday in July, we'll be having a My Pussy Matters conference.
Oh, I'll be there.
Yes, make sure you come through, Candace. And that's where we're gonna like talk everything, you know, about the female body.
Yeah.
And have fun and get healed and love and laugh and all that good shit.
I love it. Like, it sounds like a good feminine energy, spiritual, wonderful place to be.
It is. I love it.
I'll totally be there. All right. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, Nikki.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
We definitely have to do this again. I got to come back here.
Right.
Part two.
So much fun.
Yes.
I loved it. So next week we'll have Dr. Heike and Jonathan Hudson, American. Well, actually, we're going to have Dr. Heike first, and then the next week she's going to come on with her husband from Sextraordinaryliving.com, and they're going to teach us the somatic approach to healthy relationships and sexuality. Right? So if you want to leave any comments and you're on Facebook Live, you can we got 1 minute left. You're on Facebook Live, you can leave any comments. I'll come back later and talk to you. Nikki will also have access to this post, so she'll be able to come back if you want to ask her any questions. Also, you can email us at askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. And, you know, you send us questions, you send us, you know, whatever your thoughts and information, and then we'll cover it. And it's also, if you want to give ideas for other stuff to cover on the show, right? We can come back and cover it later. But until next time, never forget that you are a love machine. And if you ever start to feel like you aren't getting the love you need, just make more and ask for candy.
Absolutely.
Mwah! I love you, Armed Radio Global. I love you, everybody on the TuneIn app. I love you, everybody in the garden, on iHeartRadio. Bye. So Armed Radio left. Facebook Live people, I love you too. And I didn't want to say it when they were here, but I love you especially because you can see us and you're commenting. So those of you who are listening on Facebook Live, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Yes. And Miss Nikki, you are coming back.
Thank you. Yes. I loved it. I had a good time.
Right? Awesome. All right. Ask for candy, everybody. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, Jimmy.
Bye, Jim.
Bye, Jim.
I call my sugar.